It is interesting because it's like an echo that comes a month later after the initial sound. Because all these things are things that should have been there in court. Yeah, that's my take. They should have been there. They should have been looked at, and then a determination would have been made. My concern is, so what happens? Because now that the due process, statutory process is over, and I think the only discussion we should be having is whether the Ruto government is going to resign, because that's the only option that is there. So is the government going to resign? And if not, so what happens? Because even I think the president has said we are not going to resign. In fact, he did not even go there. He said what this gentleman wants is a piece of this cake. And remember, that is taking traction. This is the same gentleman whose team gave Ruto a hero's welcome just a week ago. So I think he's also sending mixed signals, much as he was not in the country. So these are discussions that will be had for quite a while. But of course, we'll delve into the whole situation. When you say that Ruto is reconstituting IEBC on his own, and yet you say we are a country of laws and the Constitution, and the Constitution and the laws are clear on how you populate IEBC, and that is exactly what is happening. There was an amendment, correct, to the IEBC Act, which was signed into law incidentally yesterday, and I didn't see any serious opposition to the same amendments in Parliament. If anything, part of the team that Raila is relying on was in Bunge, or was rather in State House yesterday. So it means, to a large extent, they don't have a problem with this amendment. These are positions that are going to be advertised for. These are positions that will ultimately be populated. But importantly, and I think this is where I don't understand these things, 6 months ago, 3 days ago, Raila and the president had an opportunity to give us 2 commissioners designate and the chairman designate. They had an opportunity provided for in law that 6 months to the time these commissioners are supposed to go home is provided for in law. You start the process of recruiting the positions that are going to fall vacant. They did not even look like they were interested in doing so. 6 months ago, a few days, like the day Chebukati was going home, 6 months to that time, that opportunity was there. And that is when Raila was perfectly in a good position to ensure that happened. I did not see any activity around it. So I don't understand how 6 months later, after the fact, now everyone is so excited that this populating of IEBC is being done by one individual. And I'm saying this with a lot of respect. Okay. I think there should be clarity in communication so that it is good. Obviously, he's not speaking to the likes of myself and other people. He is targeted in terms of who he wants to communicate this conversation with. But I think it also needs to be convincing to a bigger populace of this country.
Okay.
Yes.
Prof. Raila Odinga refused to recognize the legitimacy of this administration. And he said there will be no 2027 until the mess of 2022, in his words, is cleaned up. What did you make of his statements yesterday?
Wow, I think Kenyans should be very happy. They have a very vibrant society. I think we think a lot and we think very loudly, and I think that's why we are the best in East Africa. Guys, maybe not in Africa, but in East Africa we are definitely the best. So I'm okay with the noise, with the political noise on both sides. But having said that, though, you need, when there is a complaint anywhere, in my opinion, the government ought to take that complaint seriously, because the government is the one with the authority. The ones making the complaints, they can make any complaint they want. But this complaint relates to the election. Election was contested from the very beginning because they went to the Supreme Court. Now they claim to have evidence. This is what I would do if I was Ruto. If I was Ruto, I would actually order a complete recount of the vote to just put these people in their place. Because the idea of the servers, I think, is nonsense. I don't think anyone should be asking the server. They should be asking for the recount of the votes which were cast, total national recount. because we have a weakness. Let's accept that. We have a weakness in our electoral law. If you want to steal the Kenya's election, all you have to do is to announce someone a winner. And then the Supreme Court has 2 weeks. They can't hold any recount because this streaming, these polling figures from the polling station directly to the National Tallying Center, that is where the weakness lies. Because what we need to do is to redesign those forms, decentralize transmission, so that the transmission from polling stations, because they are final in tallying, it lands at the sub-county headquarters. And then from the sub-county headquarters, you transmit to the county headquarters. Now, most counties are 11, the biggest, Kakamega, Kiambu, Meru, Nakuru, there are 11 constituencies. So at the county headquarters, you are dealing with 11 entries. What does that tell you? At the National Tallying Center, you will deal with only 47 entries because there is 47 counties. So you minimize all these little things coming from all sorts of directions so that if there is a problem, we determine that Kiambu has a problem. We can isolate Kiambu and recount. If we determine a certain constituency as a problem, we is able to isolate that constituency and recount. But you can't recount nationally. The Supreme Court knows that. Everyone knows that. That is why if you want to steal an election, a Kenyan election is so simple. I simply take your figures. Let's say we are running between you and me. You get 2,000 votes, I get 1,000, and just announce the 2,000 as mine. And then give the Supreme Court the work to go and find where they are started after the announcing. So there is a problem that needs to be fixed, because for me, if this raka is not sorted out, you could be planting seeds for another 207 in 2027.
All right.
So when I look at what is happening, it's good that it's happening, so that we can get the time to sort ourselves out in the next 4 years. I don't think it's clever to dismiss a complaint when you're in authority. You don't split a complaint, you look at it. You say that that's your perception. I happen to have a different one, but let's talk.
Okay.
Let's find out where exactly the truth lies.
All right. Haman, Mambo Bado.
Bado.
Mambo Bado. That is what they told us at Kamkunji yesterday. Yes. My question to you is, Mambo Bado?
Looks like Mambo Bado. And the question is, in my view, who is making Mambo Bado Bado? Who is badoing Mambo? I think it's the president and his deputy. Because they were elected, with all this dispute, of course, given a go-ahead by the Supreme Court, sworn in, and instead of running the country, they are running politics. They are going over the country as if they are in an election. And in every opportunity they have, they throw barbs at Raila and his team. You know, instead of being in Nairobi working, they are busy moving across the country, politicking, rubbishing the opposition, and doing everything within the book to get people from the other side to come to them. Then they are inviting what Raila has done, which is that rally. So Mambo Bado, even if Mambo was not to be Bado, the president and his deputy are the ones forcing Mambo to be Bado.
Raila has been provoked.
Yeah, they are provoking Raila.